July 25th, 2026, and I am making some dessert. I'm hungry. I have in here chia seed powder, flaxseed powder. It's been a while since I had some of that. I wonder if this is... Oh, hello. Reaper, I remember your name. How you doing? Wait, is this... I'm looking at my friend did a... Oh, there's my avatar! My avatar's in it! Ah! Do you ever... Are you an adult? um, there's, this YouTuber who's in VR chat, and he's so funny. Like, not really trying to be funny, too. Oh, I gotta go back a bit. Am I in this shot? Okay, I gotta turn up the... Can't see here. Oh yeah, my back's turned, but I'm here. Jumping again. Sorry, I couldn't join you the other streams. Oh, that's okay. Like, it's nice to see you. Are you an adult? You're an adult, right? Is my... Are you? Hmm? I can't wait to listen to that song, even though I think I did it actually before, but I forget how it goes. Hey man, which part of the US are you from? Cool Wizard 99. I'm actually from Canada. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. Which part of the US are you from? Okay, let's see here. I should watch this more. Find out they've removed their name from church, and so if that's okay, the case, like, I'm making something. I gotta do it. Risk what might happen. Yeah, Canada. Woo! So this is chia seed powder, flaxseed powder already in there. And then I'm gonna throw in some bananas, and then mash them with a hammer or a fork. You're from Ontario? That's the real Canada right there. I'm the Canada knockoff. Contrary to the story about how the church is just like experiencing explosive growth all the time. I have always found it kind of hilarious because the Mormon church reports its membership number, but they do not report how many people actually attend. Like if you look at the census data in Utah. What's it like living in Ontario? The census people, like, is it crazy hot? People who are self-reporting being Mormon versus people who the church is reporting are Mormon. There's actually a very large discrepancy between those numbers, and so I've always thought it was hilarious that the church is only willing to talk about how many baptisms, how many people are baptized members of the church, and they don't report how many people are showing up and actually participating. Because to me, that's obviously the actual number of how many people are Mormon, but I think that they want to make it hard to remove your records for one reason is simply because they just when a number is high, it's better. I also think that they don't want you to remove your name because if they can keep you in that like less active
What's it like in Ontario?
category, then you're still in a category of like missionaries could potentially get you back. So someone who's just not really participating but still has a membership record is probably someone ultimately that's going to be easier to convince to go back to church. Whereas once someone removes their records, they're no longer going to be receiving missionary visits. If they do want to come back to the church, then it's going to be
Okay, I feel like
paperwork. And so I think
this
they want to keep people
Blackstrap molasses went rancid, which is kind of crazy.
Reactivate. These are kind of missionary or Mormon words. But as long as someone is like just simply
yeah, it smells like soy sauce a little bit. It's supposed to have gone bad 2027. Thanks for the like. Hey, Bellawet. Not too much. Just listening to Alyssa Grenfell and smelling my molasses and questioning it because it's it should have gone bad. It's supposed to go bad in like 2027, but it smells like soy sauce a little bit. It smells different than when I bought it. But anyway, I'm making some dessert because I'm hungry, and then I'm probably going for a walk to work some of this off because I don't want to, not do any exercise and then eat all the food. Like, it's crazy. Plus, I haven't really gone for a big walk today. And big walks are healthy. Healthy. What's up with you? Hey, thanks for the likes. I miss my crunchy peanut butter, I must say. Some almonds going on. I have some peanuts. Okay, this is not good. This is good. Oh, where can I put my shells? I had a really good thing yesterday for it. You play Roblox. Nice. Never played Roblox. It seems kind of, I don't know. Is it like Minecraft? I should have some sort of scenario here for this. That's gonna be crazy. I didn't wash this earlier, so that's good. Shucks and eaters. Oops. Okay. That's better. Oops. Okay. Okay. Orderliness can happen. It's not like, oh wow, I totally thought it was actually like that. So Roblox is not like Minecraft.
Actually consciously tried to remove their name. Like I said in the next section of the video, I'm going to tell some of the stories of my mission.
What is it like? Anything else at all?
I also think the reason they don't want people to remove their name is that the church has so much infrastructure built up around trying to get people back to church. So they have missionary visits. They have ministering teachers, like visiting teachers, people who might show up at the door. Like when I was Mormon, we would have events where we would have like a ward list. This is a very real thing we would do. And you'd get maybe a chunk of like 5 to 10 names. And they'd say, okay, these are names of people who are less active. And we're going to try to contact all of them. and we would receive instruction on like, okay, if they don't live there anymore, try to figure out where they moved to. If they do live there, invite them to church and make notes. Like one of the things we would note is like how many people live in this house. Like we have a membership record for Joanna Smith, and we show up at her door. Oh, Joanna actually has 2 kids now, and their ages 3 and 7 or whatever. And so we're writing that down. So we would have entire youth activities and even activities for adults.
It's Game Besties. Hello. How are you?
Hunting people down to try to figure out if they're going to come back or just to update the membership records. This is how we get back to that move records out page I showed you earlier, where it is a common practice for people to through all these different means, try to figure out if people want to come back, try to figure out, okay, we need a new address. And if people remove their name from this list, all of that infrastructure of getting people back, ministering to the lost souls, all of that the church has these systems around goes away. So as long as they can keep your name on that list, you're going to be involved in that spinning around the drain of having people try to contact you. You're in the program, but once you remove your name, you're not in the drain anymore. Now, I also think it's because the church puts a really strong emphasis around, it's called Park Member Families, PMF is what we would write in our notes as missionaries. This is kind of the idea that one person's record is actually giving you access to a huge amount of people in your family.
Hello from 7SA. What's that? Cindy Stamper. N2Z2D. Is that supposed to be USA?
One person is baptized, but they have 3 kids, a spouse, and they live with their
Hello.
grandparents. So that's actually 5 baptisms, potentially. Part member families, if you have one person who's already a member, there's an entire circle often around them that are potential converts. And so for my family, my family is an example of this because Jackson still has his name on the records of the church. I'll say his church record is still in New York. I think our family's learned that sending the missionaries our way does not have the intended effect. So we know his records are still in New York. We know that they do not have our current home address. But in a world in which they did, and my son is 7, maybe he turns 9 someday. When my son turns 9, that is a potential convert. That's a potential convert baptism. And so even Jackson's potentially, if you're more receptive, which we're not,
Funny ASMR rocks. Hello. Wait, funny ASM rocks. Oh yeah, okay, R rocks. Huh. Hello. How are you doing?
If they ever show up here, I don't think we can wait for the excommunication.
Thanks for the likes.
Press the button. And I'll say too, Jackson has obviously offered many times, do you want this removed? Would it make you feel more comfortable or safer to just for me to remove my name? And I'm always like, I think it's okay. I like the excommunication dream. We're on the same team here. But I do think if our records were ever updated, we'd just be like, we just have to quit Mormon, here we go. But this is mostly just to prove that if they can keep you from removing your name from it means that when the visiting teachers or the young men's president does come around, even if that one person who's less active, maybe they're not even interested, but they might knock the door of the son or the older parent or a friend and be like, hey, such and such is a member of our church. Maybe you would also like to learn more. And it's just an easier way in to get more baptisms.
That's enough peanuts.
That really is the bottom line. It's a way for them to get in the door more easily. When I was a missionary, most of my baptisms, my convert baptisms, came from part member families. Because when you compare a part member family where there's one person who's a member and they're just usually more receptive, that's the Mormon word for it, receptive, than someone that you're just randomly knocking on doors. And what's crazy
This is not the same without crunchy peanut butter.
My own dad ended up converting to the church when he was a teenager because his parents were less active. And then he, as a kid, was never baptized because his parents didn't attend. And they had that little address on a little piece of paper. and the missionaries were able to convert my dad, even though my grandparents had not attended in years. And I also, as my final thing of why I think that they make it so hard to remove your records, is ultimately that if you believe in the religion, then you do think it's very spiritually damning to make this final choice. When I was Mormon, we would say, with greater knowledge comes greater condemnation. And so I think, especially for someone who's been endowed, so you wear the magic underwear, and you do the handshakes, and you've been through the temple, then I think for those people, it would be seen as like a fate worse than death, like very serious spiritual repercussions. And so that's probably the most charitable read, if we're considering like why do they make it so difficult, is because if that's the spiritual fallout of you excommunicating yourself, then they're going to try to prevent it in whatever way possible. So I figured now I'd share some of the stories from my own Mormon mission about the other side of this. So it's interesting, like I said, kind of just desserts that I've experienced both sides, where I've experienced the harvesting of the records, and then the experience of having my records be harvested. I was on my mission in Colorado between 2013 and 2014, so they do update stuff all the time. The Lord's True Church needs constant updating for some reason. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, except for when the Lord changes his mind. I think the most common occurrence was when we would be out knocking doors, because that was a pretty common activity. Like I said, it's not very efficient, but missionaries are expected to basically be working, here's the schedule, an incredibly long day every single day. So if you don't have appointments to fill that time, you're not allowed, it's against the rules to like go home and rest. You're supposed to fill that working time with any activity you can think of. So the most common default activity when you don't have another thing planned or nobody wanted to talk to you that day is to just go knock on people's doors. So the most common way we would do this like membership updating is we'd be knocking on doors and someone would say something like, oh, you know, Church of Latter-day Saints, I think I actually was baptized into that at one point. I think I am a member. And we'd say, oh, that's like so weird, you're not on the membership records of this congregation. If you give us your birth date, then we can take it to the bishop and he will update it so that your records are in this congregation. And oftentimes I feel like people would be like, oh, I'm not trying to do all that. Like people would say, no thanks. Like they would kind of be like, oh, just because I told you I'm a member doesn't mean I want to start attending. I'm just like letting you guys know. Sometimes people would give their birthdays. It's hard to turn down two bright-eyed young women who are like, can you give me your personal information? So sometimes people would give their birthdays, but oftentimes people would be like, oh, it's okay, you don't need to update my records. No thanks. I think just the way missionaries keeps so many records is kind of also another element of the stalker vibes that the church can give off. A common question I get is like, how do missionaries keep showing up over and over again, even if you're not a member? So first of all, they have what's called the ward directory. It's like the list of who's in the congregation. So if you're less active, you're on this list. Even if you haven't attended in 50 years, if you haven't moved or your record isn't updated or whatever, like your name is still on the list. So missionaries use the ward directory religiously, pun intended, to try to find people to teach, part member families, less active people. Then they also have something called the area book. So we have the ward directory and the area book. And the area book is full of potential investigators. I think they're calling them friends now. Also absurd. And the area book basically is full of teaching records or people who are potentially interested. So say I meet with that person who says, you know, I think I was baptized in your church at one point. No, I really don't want my records to be updated. The missionaries still would go out to their car or maybe their bikes. I had a physical area book where I write stuff down, but now it's all digitized, so it's even harder to scrub. They would go to their area book and they would write down Jeanette, I'm making up so many names today. Jeanette McCurdy is a member, doesn't want record updated. And they put that in the area book. Even if they don't have that name shifted onto the ward directory, they still have captured the information about how this person in this house is still a member of the church. Like I said, the Mormon church is so legalistic, so hopefully what I'm explaining makes sense, because there's like the flow of data is so constant. As a missionary, if you're the ward clerk, if you're a young women's leader, it's like you're constantly updating this record, add that to this list, take note of that statistic. The church keeps like shockingly meticulous records. It very much operates like a business. It is a business worth $300+ billion. And so the level to which, as a missionary, you are just constantly harvesting information, whether it's from potential investigators, less active families, part member families, it's ridiculous. I do have one very vibrant memory of we were knocking on doors, we were using the ward directory. So part of the ward directory is that we would update less active, LA, part member family, PMF, DNC, do not contact. We would update the area book or the ward directory to reflect like what we were learning about people in the congregation. And we had gone to one of these addresses that just was marked LA, less active. And this man got really upset. And he was like, you guys have been to my house so many times. I do not want visits from the missionaries anymore. How do I stop this? And we, as missionaries, we were instructed to just tell them, you have to talk to the bishop, which I established at the beginning of this video. That's basically what the church always pushes people to do. You have to talk to the bishop. You have to meet with him in person. So we would say, like, well, we can give you the bishop's information so that you can set up a time to meet with him. And this guy is like, no, I am not going to your church to get rid of my membership. Like, I remember his face just, he was like, the audacity that you would expect me to go in person to that church just to get you guys to stop visiting. And the crazy irony of this is that his refusal to meet with the bishop is forcing him to still get visited by missionaries. And at that point, when I was a missionary, I didn't know about Quit Mormon. I'm not even sure if it was operational yet, but we wouldn't really help people. We actually would say, like, well, you would also do the same kind of shuffle and dance and be like, well, if you remove your name from the church, it removes all the blessings that you got when you were baptized. And this guy in particular was like, I don't care. I just don't like people coming to my house. And so I feel like even being trained as a missionary to tell people, like, oh, just go talk to the bishop. You have to, like, that was all we would ever say. You have to talk to the bishop.
Well,
it's like,
that is a finished little snack. So thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Especially thank you for commenting because it gives me something to work with. So, yeah, I'll do a sleep stream tonight. Thank you for joining. Bye.